Bansir and Kobe were two friends who lived in the ancient city of Babylon. Babylon, the city of civilization and the center of trade, was a city of wealth, and a high standard of living. At one point, the city was a place of prosperous trade and numerous job opportunities. At this point, the friends lived in extreme poverty and a life of solitude. Bansir was a skilled cartwright and opened a small business in the valley. One day, he was walking in front of his business, thinking deeply and wondering why he was so skilled, so hardworking, and working day and night. He also lived in a city of opportunity, yet he was still poor. On the other hand, people who worked harder than him were making money and becoming the richest people in the city. He wondered what the secret of wealth was. What were the rules that had brought him to that level? While he was deep in thought, his friend Kobe came along. That day, the two friends had a story. That story would be a turning point in their lives that would change their lives 180 degrees. What was the story that Bansir and Kobe had that began their story? In 1976, author George Clason wrote a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. Initially, his goal was not to write a book, but to publish short articles in which he would share short stories from the Babylonian Empire. Many people liked these articles, which eventually led him to compile them into this book. Why did he choose the name Babylon? Babylon is an ancient city with a rich history. It is a city that is characterized by high civilization and economic development. Clason saw that historical stories related to Babylon could easily convey important economic ideas to people. He used the city of Babylon to create a realistic environment for his stories that were influential in the world. This book is written in a way that says, stories to teach you the rules of wealth, and wealth has rules. Anyone who understands these rules can become the richest person in their city. And it is the same rules that make the man we are about to tell you about the richest man in the city of Babylon. So that we can understand the rules of wealth, let's go back to the beginning of the story. What happened after the fateful meeting between Bansir and his friend Kobe that on the day of the incident? Bansir was very upset. He was thinking deeply, and he was going to his business where he made horse-drawn carriages. Instead of sitting down, his closest friend Kobe came. When Kobe saw Bansir, who had worked hard day and night, sitting there today and not doing anything, he was very surprised and said, "I didn't think that you would have a full house and that you would have earned so much money today. Why are you sitting there, my friend? Today you are without money. What do you think of 2 dirhams?" Bansir replied, "If you had 2 dirhams, those 2 dirhams would be all your wealth, which makes me late to borrow something. I am also a citizen of my pocket." Kobe, surprised, said, "If that's the case, why are you sitting here? Don't you work hard for all these tasks that you have gone to seek happiness? If you were sitting here like this, where can you bring something to your family and a livelihood?" Bansir said, "Friend, I asked myself why I am not a highly skilled person, and I work hard and diligently day and night. Why am I not a good person in your place? Why am I not a good person in your place? Why am I not a good person in your poverty? Why am I constantly in need of money and in misery, in a job that is tiring, consuming all my thoughts and attention? What is the source of my financial burden? The other painful thing is, we live in the city of Babel, which is the city with the most opportunities and wealth. Yet we live in the lowest life, and we work for the least money." Kobe, surprised by his words, said, "Friend, I have never seen you talk like us." Bansir replied, "Because I have never thought like us. This stage is not the stage that everyone who has made a lot of money and wealth today has experienced. It is the stage of awakening that wakes a person up from his sleep and finds a new understanding of life. It is a mental change that causes a person to reconsider his way of thinking, his goals, where he is aiming, and the stage of realization that he is in. The difficult stage begins when a person understands that the wealth he wants to make and the life he aims to live will never come if he continues to do the things he has always done and does not change his old way of thinking. Because, if you keep doing the things you've always done, you'll only get the results you've always gotten. A wise person who wakes up from sleep is not someone who waits for opportunities to come to him, but creates new opportunities. He seeks out skills that will lead to continuous growth. So if you want to make money, first of all, you should not lose sight of the Almighty. Making a lot of money is not your goal, but money serves your purpose, not the goal. After that, the next step you should take is to increase your thinking like Bansir did. When Bansir said to his friend Kobe, "Friend, have I never seen you talk like us?" Bansir replied, "Because I never think like us. I never asked myself, I, who have a high skill in making horse-drawn carriages, work day and night. I am waiting to make a lot of money. Even though I am still a poor man, I use the little money I earn immediately and get up the next day. I am forced to work harder than before to survive. I ask you, my friend, why is it that I, who have combined high skills, work smartly and not only that, but work hard day and night? Why am I still standing there and not making any financial changes?" Kobe replied, "My friend, I don't even have an answer for that, just like you. I am showing you that I have come to take your loan." These two friends were at that time in a time of awakening, a time when they were waking up from sleep and false hope. The moment they realize something is wrong and there is a gap, they are said to have made a mistake. Many of us fall into that trap, and we never get out of that trap. We never wake up. We never wake up. Every one of us learns a little skill, then gets a job in that skill, and is satisfied with that position and lives in that comfort zone that we may think we are achieving financial freedom, but we are not working towards that goal that we want to achieve. We are not asking ourselves if this path we are on is the right path, the path that will lead us to the goal we want. The end they are aiming for is the one they have already said. Start with the end in mind. Bansar and Kopi fell down when they realized that they did not have the end in mind. This path they are on is not the path to wealth. They asked themselves where to start. They began to look for answers to the questions. How did these wealthy people get to that level? What is the secret behind their wealth? Is there a secret rule they used, which allows them to earn so much wealth? So the first step to get out of poverty is to ask ourselves these questions, to know where the high is, where they do not do anything. People are not the same. A person may have a problem because they do not know any skills. Another person may have skills but low self-awareness and is a person who is satisfied with a low position. It is enough for him to find a small job and earn a small salary every month. While some people are skilled and have high self-awareness but are lazy, and instead of working towards their goals, they spend their time on entertainment and similar things. Similarly, there is another type of people who are not interested in achieving freedom and making money. They are people who are satisfied with their own low and natural lives. So this book is not for those people. This book is aimed at people who want to get out of poverty and the need of others and rely on themselves. The world is obsessed with the idea that every time you need a little money, you have to ask someone else, and you are constantly begging. This is the case even for people who are very weak in age and have been called a glutton. Everyone gave you money when you asked that person. You see the person who is a glutton as superior to you and is the most powerful, which is very weak for old people. So have you ever wondered about the people who make a lot of money and are rich? What is the secret that they have understood? Is there a rule that they follow that leads them to make those millions? Bansar and his friend Kobe discovered that there are rules for getting rich. Anyone who applies these rules can become rich and make a lot of money. Because the rules are changing. An application of the law of arithmetic tells us that 2 legs multiplied by 2 equals 4. The same thing happens even if 1,000 years pass. 2 legs multiplied by 2 equals 4. The law of the rich is the same, and everyone follows the right path. Those who applied these rules did not become wealthy. So when Bansar and Kobe understood that being rich meant having rules, they set out to find someone who could break those rules. Someone who started from nothing after applying these rules became wealthy. They immediately thought of their friend Arkad, the richest man in the city of Babylon, the man named after this book, the richest man in Babylon. Arkad was their friend. They had studied together in the same place when they were young. They were both scholars, and he taught us all. But now they are citizens, and he is the richest man in the whole city. They decided to go to Arkad and ask him how he got to that level, how he got out of poverty and became the richest man in the city. What rules did he use? So, as they prepared for their new ambassador to meet the landowner of Babylon, Bansar jokingly said to Arkad, "I am afraid that if I find you in a dark place at night, you will not respect my friendship and all my wealth will be taken away." Kobe replied to his friend that no one can steal Arkad's wealth, because his wealth is not only money, but also various sources of income. And even if you lose all his wealth, in a short time he will get back that wealth and 100 times more. Bansar, surprised, said that my sources of income are that. I am looking for more sources of income while I am sleeping. Bansar's dream was to reach that level, and he was asking for advice on how to reach that level. His friend Kobe said to him, "Why are you wondering and thinking so much about this? Let's go to our friend Arkad and ask him all the questions that are buzzing in our minds." After that, they began their journey to meet Arkad, a man who started from scratch. Even worse than them. Today he is the richest man in the whole city. So who is Arkad and how did he become the richest man in Babylon? A story of sorts will unfold between him and his 2 friends who are coming. The excitement of the story begins with the last one. So let's get to the next part. They decided to go to Arkad and ask him how he had reached that level, how he had risen from poverty to become the richest man in the city. What were the rules he had used to reach that level? So, as they prepared for their new ambassador to meet the landowner of Babylon, Bansar jokingly said to Arkad, "I am afraid that if I find you in a dark place at night, you will not respect my friendship and all my wealth will be taken away." Kobe replied to his friend that no one can steal Arkad's wealth, because his wealth is not only money, but also various sources of income. And even if you lose all his wealth, in a short time he will get back that wealth and 100 times more. Bansar, surprised, said that my sources of income are that. I am looking for more sources of income while I am sleeping. Bansar's dream was to reach that level, and he was asking for advice on how to reach that level. His friend Kobe said to him, "Why are you wondering and thinking so much about this? Let's go to our friend Arkad and ask him all the questions that are buzzing in our minds." After that, they began their journey to meet Arkad, a man who started from scratch. Even worse than them. Today he is the richest man in the whole city. So who is Arkad and how did he become the richest man in Babylon? A story of sorts will unfold between him and his 2 friends who are coming. The excitement of the story begins with the last one. So let's get to the next part. So who is Arkad who also became the richest man in Babylon? A story of sorts will unfold between him and his 2 friends who are coming to him. The excitement of the story begins with the last one. So let's get to the next part. So who is Arkad who also became the richest man in Babylon? A story of sorts will unfold between him and his 2 friends who are coming to him. The excitement of the story begins with the last one. So let's get